Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. In this video we are going to learn about Gaia scene and level generator. So you can go to instant.blogspot.com and here you can find this Gaia 2 train and scene generator. You can download this asset and import it to your Unity. We are using Unity 2019.4.3 and if you are using Unity later versions like 2020 or later, then you can use Gaia Pro or Gaia 2021. In this case you can see that we have a nice scene here without anything, and we want to create a Gaia train. So let's go to window and we'll just go to procedural world, and then we will just go to Gaia and we'll go to Gaia manager. In Gaia manager we have actually the steps, and you can follow that steps. And if you want to use a render pipeline, a standard render pipeline, and you want to improve your graphics, then you can actually install post-processing stack, and for that purpose you can go to Windows Package Manager, and then you can find post-processing here, post, and inside the Unity directory registry, not in my asset, and here you can see we have post-processing. You can install this post-processing stack, and then you can use this post-processing into your scene. For now I'm not going to use that post-processing. Also you can click on this set linear rendering and it will convert your lighting system to deferred lighting system. So now we will just go to our first step, which is train. And in train you can see we have several type of trains. Tiny train is 256 meter by 256 meters. We have small train 512 meters. We have medium train. We have a large train of 2 kilometers. We have extra large train of 4 kilometers. And in custom trains you can select your own setting for the kilometers. Even 16 kilometer train you can create. So whenever we create a train, here I will just select the medium train. Then you can see that if we extend this icon, you can see more details here. So you can use word designer to have this asset. Otherwise you can just play with the X and Z tiling, which is default is fine. After that, the second step is to select the platform. If you want to use train for the mobile, you can use this option. And if you want to make it ultra light, you can select this one. This is also very nice feature for the mobile games. If you have a powerful desktop, you can use this one, and then definitely you can create some powerful graphics. And for desktop we'll select it for desktop, and then we will just click on create trains, and it will create our train. When we have a train in our scene, you can see this is very simple train. We want to add some Gaia tools on this train, so we'll click on create tools, and it will create tools for our train. The important thing is that whenever we select the tools here and we clicked on this create tool, we have certain options for that as well. So we have selected Gaia Pro sample. You can definitely select Studio's low poly if you want to create low poly train, and with that assets, Towns 3D 4 is also available. So it's your choice that how what you want to select from these options. I have selected Gaia Pro sample. So now you can see that we have this stamper browser. We can actually click on this close icon and we can get again from Windows and procedural words, so don't be worried about that. When we create tools for our train, then you will see this stamp browser, and this we can just click this stamp browser, and now if you want that browser again, you can select this stamper here in the Gaia tools, and here you can see stamp image, and if we click here we will get this stamp tool again. So this stamp tool has a lot of options. You can see that the hills are selected, so we have this type of stamp here. If we click here, you can see we have some other maps as well. So these are height maps by which we can create our train. You can see this type of nice map. Click here and you will see this type of map. This is also hills maps. If we click here, we also have valleys. We can select some valley maps as well. We also have rivers. We can select river maps. We can select mountains, plains, mesas, masks, islands. So we have several options which are actually available inside the Gaia. So if for example you have a custom map and you want to add that custom map, then we can go to this procedural word option, and then we will just go to Gaia, and inside Gaia you can see we have stamps, and these stamps are coming from these sections. So if you want to create some custom stamp, you can create a new folder here with the name of custom, and then you can add your EXR file. These files are actually EXR files, and then you can place your own height map EXR file at custom folder, and then you can select that folder from this point. So now here you can see that we have this stamp tool, and we want to place some for example a stamp here. So you can see that whenever we select a stamp, we have this greenish area and which is highlighted. We can just click on this and it will hide the preview. We will just click on this again, and now we can see the preview, and this bluish area is actually the sea level. So if you want to modify the sea your train according to sea level, you can just bring it like this or like this or wherever you want. We can also move this stamp, okay, like this wherever you want. We can scale this train like this. We can actually the stamp, we can scale it. We can scale it like this. We can scale it like this to y-axis as well, okay. And we can also rotate it. If you want to rotate it, we can rotate it as well. So we can actually play with the actual stamp, and that's it. So let's click here. For some reason you can see that this stamp is outside the bounds, so we can just click on this fit to train, and it will be fitted again to the train. So let's select some land here. So for example, let's select the plains, and we have certain masks in the plains as well, so stamps. So for example, select this stamp for the plane, and we can just click on the stamp to icon, and it will, this map will be stamped to the train. So now you can see that if we click on preview option, then even we can see our train in the stamp on the train, and you can see with the nice textures are also applied to the train, and these textures are can be modified, and I will show you that in a while. So now we can actually not only select one stamp, but we can also apply multiple stamps on a train. So for example, let's select some maybe some river, and now we can click on preview, and you can area is here. If we select the move tool, if we move it, you can see we have this type of a river environment and this type of cuts actually. So by default what it is that whenever we create a new stamp here, you can see we have the new stamp. We have certain options here on the right side, and you can see that stamping raise height is selected. We can actually select lower height, we can blend heights, we can mix heights, we can set height, we can add heights, and we can subtract heights as well. So for example, if you want to create a river inside the current planes structure, we can select subtract heights, and you can see that we will have this type of result inside the plane. And if we click on stamp, you will see the result. So now you can see we have this type of cut areas inside the main plans, and this area is actually we have this area from the river stamp. Okay, so you can see this type of effect. So in this way we can add multiple stamps to our train, and we can modify our train according to our needs. So let's again go to raise height section, and let's select some other island, for example maybe hills, and then you will see that we have this type of hills. We want to add this hill to a certain area of the, for example this hill is beautiful, so we want to add this hill to certain area of the train. So what we can do, we can select the scale and it's small. Okay, and let's add this hill to maybe this side. Okay, so let's bring it, but let's bring it here, so maybe here at this spot. And definitely we don't need this type of square shape. We will just select the scale tool, just make these hills bigger, and then we will just move this stamp like this, okay, inside the train. So now we have this hilly area here, so we will just go to stamp again, and you will see that we will have a nice mountain or hills here at this spot. Definitely the texture will be adapted automatically, and you can see that we have nice textures on these mountains as well. We have also some advanced features on these operation type. So for example, here you can see this mountain is a little bit sharp, so if we want to make it a little bit smooth, then how we can do that, we can just go to stamping again, and we have also the effect section and erosion section. So if we go to effect section, you can see some items here like pro contrast, pro shapen, ridges, pro traces are not working here, and these are pro options are for the Gaia Pro asset. So here we can use this height transform, smooth and power off. So let's select this smooth, and I will just select the preview again, and you can see this is a preview of this stamp. We can move this stamp. Okay, we can modify this stamp as well. So for this hills, we will just apply this stamp, and we want to smoothen the heights hills a little bit. So what we will do, we will just adjust this height, and definitely we have some other options like polar radius and vertically. Sea level is also added, so you can modify these settings. And then if we click on stamp, then we will get some smooth mountains here. So let's see, and you can see that our mountains becomes very smooth, okay, as compared to the older selection. So in this way you can use a lot of stamps on the train, and you can make it beautiful according to your needs. So for now we have this train, and I am happy with this train. So let's move further and let's see what we can do more with Gaia. we have this Gaia, I will just bring back the Gaia manager here, and after tools we have a runtime section where we can run the environment. But before this, we want to learn about the stamper and the main tools, that what tools we have here in the Gaia manager. So if we go to Gaia tools and we have Gaia Pro Sample biomes, then we can open this, and here you can see that we have textures, we have large form, we have medium forms, small forms, rocks, trees, grass. So if we select this texture, you can see that this texture settings are here, and if we just see here, you can see this textures are selected. So if we open some certain texture, you can see that this is the resource setting, and in resource setting we have texture type, train texture, okay, and after that we have the selected resource. The name is sand to ASM, which is actually get it from the main texture name, and here we have the texture. So if I will click on this texture, you can see that this texture is added here, and also we have a normal map for this texture, so that is also added. So whenever you create a texture for your own texture, for example, then you can add that texture and its normal map as well. The third option is mask map, and this mask map is automatically generated. So let's zoom in with this sand texture. So here is the sand texture, and here you can see the settings for this sand. We also have size and y size and x size. So for example, if we add some other texture to this sand texture, here maybe I will just use this one, you can see it's instantly changed throughout the train. Okay, so in this way you can change your textures, current textures, and we can also add our own textures as well. So I will place the older textures because that is better, and we also have this tiling option, so we can tile the textures. So let's suppose, for example, here I'll just zoom in, and let's make it to 20 and 20. You can see no change here because we want to refresh the train. So let's click on refresh, and now you can see that texture is totally changed out. So let's add 5 again and 5 again. That is a good tiling, and we will just again refresh on train. So in this way you can add multiple settings for the texture. You can add metallicness, you can add smoothness, you can add channel remapping with the red, green, blue, alpha. You can click on specular, and black color is selected, which is good for the realism, and you can change this as well. You can also add some other mask settings. If you want to add, you can click on plus, and we have image mask, we have collision mask, distance mask, height mask, and we have some other options as well. So these options actually can be used for blending the textures, and that will be used here for the other textures, I think. So let's open the grass. Here you can see that the grass resource setting is selected, and we have also the mask settings for, and height mask is added, noise mask and height mask is added for this particular texture. Okay, so we also have some more textures here. So for the every texture here, so here you can see on train we have actually the 4 main textures, and that textures are blended out perfectly on the train according to the heights, and noise is also added, and some other features are also added with that blending options. So here you can see, for example, stone slope resource setting texture is selected, and we also have a slope mask for this texture. So this stone texture will be added to the slopes, and you can see that on the slopes you can see this type of texture. Okay, definitely you can read the documentation of the Gaia, and you can play with these curves perfectly, and then you can got some better results as well. So this is about the textures. So for example, if we want to add some other texture to our train, what we will do, we will just click on add new role, and then we will select train texture. From here we can select the texture to the texture map section. So here, for example, let's add some texture here, we have these basic textures in the procedural words. So I think this ground texture is added or not. Okay, let's add this ground texture maybe, and then we will add the ground normal map. This is not the normal map, this is snowy mask. So you can also add snowy mask as well for your textures. It's up to you. So now we'll just move back, and here for the T ground snow mask, we will add this normal mask, and here in the mask map we don't need to add the mask. And then we can definitely add the mask settings. We can add this mask setting to image mask, height mask for certain heights if you want to add. Okay, minimum maximum heights are there. We can also play with the curve, and then after that you can just refresh the train and it will be applied to your train as well. So for now I don't want to use this mask. I just showed you this for example. You can definitely add your own textures to your train as well. After that we have this whenever we spawn the texture, automatically Gaia has spawned these textures. If you don't have textures on the train, you can click on spawn word and it will spawn the texture on your. Also for some texture, for example, you don't want to add, you want to change the intensity of, for example, this grass texture. So let's select the grass texture, and if we click on this invert, and if we refresh the train, so where is the refresh? Okay, you don't have spawn the word, for example, then you will see the grass textures is a little bit lesser than before because we have inverted the strength transform. So if we click on invert again, and again I will just spawn the word, and then you will see that the texture will be with higher amount, and even it is deleted here because we have used this smaller than, and we will just add greater than, maybe spawn the word, and yeah, now you can see that grass is again, and we are okay. We can multiply or greater than, whatever you want, and you can actually play with these blend options. Okay, we are using the height blending. So that is it for the textures. And the second biome is a large form, and these large form are actually the houses. And if we click here, you can see that this has this village option, village 1, and in resource settings you can see we have selected a game object, and we have village 1, and also inside the train spawn target name you can see Gaia game object spawns. So it will get these from the scripts, it will get the related objects from this name. Okay, so if you will change this name here, it will be then the related objects will not be spawned on the ground. And if we click on this prefabs, here you can see we have these prefabs which are added to this game objects, where we have this prefab as this one, which is for the border, I think, fences, and for this prefab we have some options related to offset, rotation, etc. We have this wood 11 we will also have some you can see we have these actually the houses as well. If we click here on the house, you can see that we have some house as well. So in this way you can see that we will spawn these objects on the train, and you can definitely play with this. You can open this one, and here on this resource setting you will find the prefabs as well. So you can actually change these prefabs as well if you want to do so. But the important thing, very important thing, is that for example you have certain objects, and for example certain houses or stones or any other object you want to spawn on your train. Then what you will do is you will create that object in your project, for example this house, and then you have to add its related tag to that house. Okay, so here you can see this house has a tag of PW building. So you have to add for example you want to add some probes, you want to add this tag probe, you have to add centi medium form, centi small form, centi tree, or PW building. PW nature is also there. Okay, so these are specific tags which will work for these objects. If you don't have that specific tag on your object, it will not be spawned inside the environment. Okay, so similarly after large forms we have medium forms which also have some options, and actually in this we have also the same almost the same game objects, but with a smaller size. So in prefabs you can see we have Gaia chicks, etc., and we will have some small house as well. If we click here, and let's go to click on this, and it will select this small house. And similarly we have small farms. And if we go to rock, you can see that we have some rocks prefab here. Definitely if you have your own rocks, then you can do what you can do. I will first show you that on this rock, if you will go to resource settings, then we have this prefab. Okay, so if we select this prefab, you will see that this prefab has a tag name of PW nature. So if you have your own stones or rocks you want to spawn in this environment, then you have to tag it as a PW nature. Okay, so that's important. So here in the rock we have this rock prefab. We have tree prefabs as well, spawners as well, so where you can add the trees, and here you can see we have a tree. And if we just extend the resources, and if we click here, you can see this tree here. If you will select the tree, you can see the PW nature is also added to tree objects as well. So if you want to add your own trees, you can select the PW nature tag to that trees. Although for specific to trees, for example you have some trees in standard asset, we have actually, then we can add our own trees directly without this tag as well, because trees and grass is something different. And then finally we have grass asset, and here we already have 3 type of grasses. We have this flower red. This if you will open the resource settings, you can see this grass texture is added. If you click here, you can see this flower is added. Have some other type of grasses here as well, and we also have grass from the definitely from the standard assets as well. So I will spawn these things here, and I will show you that how you can spawn more objects here as well. So let's go to textures. Textures are already spawned, and if we select the large form and if we click on spawn word, one important thing is that you can see that only 1 or 2 objects are only spawned in our environment. as a objects, and the reason behind this is or maybe nothing maybe, and the reason behind this is that this environment these type of rocks will not allow these large forms to be spawned in the world. So if you have this smooth surface, if you have plains or river valleys, etc., then these forms will be spawned automatically. So here you can see medium form, because some rules are added to everything. Okay, here you can see we have rules here where you have offsets, where you have the other rules as well related to sea functions, sea level as well, and some other things. So now we will just spawn the second medium forms. We will select small forms. Let's spawn the word. Some small forms are added, I think, because it takes a little bit more time. So maybe somewhere, anyhow, let's select the sample rocks, and let's the word, and it will add rocks to the train. If you want to increase the number of the rocks, for example, in the train, and you want to spawn more rocks on the train or more houses to the train, we have actually the probability here, and also we have a feature of location increment which you can play with, and we also have minimum fitness percentage, and we should have one more option here for actually the number of the stones, and that is, I think, this one, minimum fitness. So you can increase it, and also we have scale multiplier as well, and that are the options where you can place some more rocks and other objects. Then we will spawn the, and now you can see that trees are also added to our train, and then we'll select the grass, and let's spawn the word, and grass will be added to our train. So the simple method, you have seen that simple grass is added, and trees are added, and the stones are also added. You can see this type of stones somewhere on the word, but the houses, maybe one, two or houses may be spawned on some planar surface, but maybe some houses or not cannot be spawned due to the fluctuations in the surface. So here I can't see some houses here, so maybe not, because of too much fluctuations in the environment. This is added now. So in this way you can place, so for example, if we want to add our own grass here, for example multiple grass here as well, then what we can do, we can just select the grass here, and we can just click on this just setting, just close it, and here we will add a new rule, and then in new rule we will just select our own grass prefab or grass texture. So let's add the grass texture, and let's find the grass texture here from the standard assets, and yeah, this one is good. So let's add this one, and you can play with the healthy and dry color. So I will just add some dim color here. So now we will just spawn the word, and you will see that we will have more grass on the word. Here you can see we have a lot of grass now. Okay, and similarly, if you want to add some trees, then what we can do, we can go to our trees, and we can add a new rule for the tree, and here we will find the game object of tree. So for example, we have conifer, this one tree, so let's select this tree, and then let's click on here. You can add 25 location increment is added. You can increase it to spawn more and more trees. So I will just spawn the word, and here you will see that we will have more and more trees, and now add it to our train. Okay, so in this way you can add trees to your train. In the meanwhile, you can add definitely the rocks as well. If I don't have any meshes for custom rocks, otherwise we can add the rocks as well with the same rule. And one more important thing is that, for example, if we select the biome, and here you can see that we have these default spawners. If you want to create your own spawner, let's click here, create a new spawner, and here are the rules for this new spawner, and we can name this new spawner. Okay, so let's add it, for example, post sample houses custom. Okay, and you can add your own custom houses. In this project I think we don't have any custom houses, so spawn rule, and let's create our first spawn rule. And here in this spawn rule we'll change the spawn rule to game object, because we want to add game objects. So let's add game object, and in the prefab we will add a instance, and in new instance we will add our prefab. So let's click here, and let's search for some house maybe. So here you can see that we have houses. So let's select some house from the Gaia itself, no problem. And with the default settings, if we spawn the word, you will see that houses will be added to this word in a large number. You can see lot of houses here, and the reason behind this is that we didn't have added mask settings, etc. So we can add the we can invert the strength transforms, we can add image mask. If we want to add, we can add height mask, and we can limit it to the certain heights maybe. So let's add it here maybe, and we have now added the height mask. So now if we spawn the word, the houses will be spawned on the top areas, because we have added height mask and we have limit these height masks to certain heights. Okay, so you can see, and on the sea level you can see that we have no house here. So in this way you have learned that we can add houses, we can add trees, and we can add actually any type of game object or prefab. And probe, actually we in Gaia we will name it biome, so we can add any to our word. And now our word is ready. You can definitely create some roads and other things if you want to add for your this game, and but for now we will just finalize this word here. And then for finalizing, we can actually go to the Windows and procedural word Gaia manager, and now we will just go to runtime, and here we have selected first person. You can select flying camera, third person, XR controller, or custom controller if you have. We have certain options here for the build. We can build it for day, morning, evening, night, default, procedural word, sky, etc. We also have a water option of deep blue sea, clear blue sea, standard lake. These are actually the options related to water. We also have underwater effects enabled. We have wind zone. You can add this wind zone as well. We have wind type to calm, moderate, strong, none, custom. That's all options you can select here. Ambient audio can be added from Gaia, and this will be the default ambient audio. We can add screenshotter as well if you want to take screenshots, and also a location manager. So you can add location manager as well. It's up to you. And now we will just build the runtime. So we'll just click on create runtime and we'll click on yes, and it will build our Gaia environment. So now we can close this window and you can see this nice environment with a better lighting here. As you can see, the textures are not looking good because of the intense light. So we'll go here in Gaia tools and I will just close it, and here in Gaia runtime, if we extend it, we have this Gaia player, we have Gaia lighting, we have Gaia audio, water, and actually we can modify these settings after building as well. So here you can see we have Gaia water. We can change the water style here. Clear blue water is like this. We have standard lake water, we have standard clear lake water, we have deep blue sea as well. So we can modify these things. We also have Gaia lighting. So here you can see we can change the Gaia lighting profile to morning, and it will add morning environment. We can also change it to evening. We can also change it to night. We can also change it to default, and then procedural world sky, and again day I will just set, and it will just make the settings regarding to light. So here you can see that we have this lighting, but it is not good. So we'll just go to Gaia lighting here, extend it. We will select the directional light and we can decrease the intensity to something like 1. And now you can see that lighting is lesser, and we can see this type of natural environment with houses and everything, and water and lot of other beautiful world here. Okay, so I think you have understand the basics of Gaia, and definitely Gaia is a tool where you can use this tool to build environments, very powerful environments. We also have Gaia player, so if we want to set up our Gaia player maybe at this spot, for example, so then we can come to this spot and we can select the player, and we can press Control Shift F to focus on this. And now if we play the game, the Gaia player will be spawned here, and we can check out the environment. So let's go to game view, maximize on play, and then we can play the game, and you will see that our player will be inside the game, and we can walk around the world and we can check out our world. So here you can see grasses, beautiful grasses added. We have some trees, flowers, and we also have, although you can see lighting is not too much good, and but you can see the shadows, you can listen the sounds as well, and we can actually move around the environment as well. Okay, so this is Gaia. You can see the beautiful water as well. So nice and beautiful. That word is beautiful. Definitely you can improve the textures, grass quality. You can add certain more type of grass. You can spawn more grass than lesser grass, or lesser grass as well, and you can do a lot of things. You can have beautiful sky, and you also can see the wind effect with this grass, and you can use realistic grass prefabs as well to get some better and more realistic environment. So that's it for Gaia. You can have a lot of features related to Gaia we have learned in this video. You can use that techniques and create your own worlds. Definitely after building the environment, if you will add post processing to your environment, it will look very beautiful. And for post processing, I will create some specific video on that. And also we have certain tools, and the older tool with Gaia was CTS, which is now deprecated, and some other tools are also there which can be directly used with Gaia to get some better shading to the terrain. That's it for this video. In next video we'll move further with some other video. Allah Hafiz.